Hey everyone, how's it going? Cloud here, otherwise better known as Kai from Crystals of Chaos. Cloud, Kai, whatever you want to refer to me as long as it's not like Dickface or something. The amount of times I'm getting known by these days is quite interesting. So this video today is basically to answer your questions that you submitted last week. Those of you who didn't see the video, I basically uploaded one asking you to submit any questions you had about the Crystals of Chaos series, and it could be anything about it at all. If you didn't see the video, I apologise. Most likely YouTube's uploading and like sending to you guys probably messed up again, so that might be why you didn't see the video, or you haven't been on YouTube for a while. But not to worry, I'll probably do another Q&A at the end of series 2. So we got a wide variety of questions. Some of you submitted like between like 5 and 10 questions. So what I'm going to do is get through them all as quickly and effectively as possible. I'll obviously go into as much detail as I can. Some of you did like mention like the same questions, so obviously listen out. Someone may have like asked before you do. That doesn't mean I wasn't answering your question, but it's like what's the point of repeating it twice? So in no particular order, we're going to start off answering your questions. Now, there's not going to be any sort of like visuals in this video as far as I know, at the moment as I'm recording this anyway. So it's basically like escape and listen for those of you who have subscribed to me on my Cloud channel. Basically escape and listen is like you can listen to my audio in the background while doing some RuneScape, you know, no need to XP waste, is there? But yeah, anyway, let's get started with the questions in no particular order. So I'm just going to read these as I go along. Question from Mega Assassin. Why are you so awesome? I'm afraid I can't really answer that one. I guess I'll have to leave that for you two. I'm taking it that you're enjoying the series, so I'll take that as a compliment either way. Okay, so this next question is from Jack White, and he says, Enkai mentions he's been planning something like this for a while. Can you confirm if this is a rebellion against Xeno or to take the crystals for himself? Well, without giving away too much, I think it's quite obvious that Enkai has got some sort of other side to himself, where if he had the opportunity to obtain more power, he would do so. Now, I wouldn't say he's like planning to rebel against Xeno immediately or for definitely, but he definitely would like more power. And obviously the minute obviously those of you who watched the recent episodes will understand. If you haven't, they'll obviously spoiler alert, but if you go watch the recent episodes, you'll know what I'm talking about. So Enkai got the key to the throne room from Xenocrates. He actually allowed him to go in there and said like use any weapon or artifact in there to kill Kai. Now Xeno obviously was unaware that Enkai would probably spot the Crystal of Chaos, or he even have like the guts to take it, but obviously Enkai saw the crystal, gave into his temptation and absorbed some of the crystal's power, and actually took the crystal for himself. Now obviously he didn't deactivate the crystal, so Xeno is completely unaware that he has it, and he'll still think it's still in the treasury. So obviously Enkai does say as he's walking off, if he gets the chance to obtain more crystals, he will keep using their power. But obviously if Enkai somehow managed to do this without getting spotted at all, by the time he obtained the 7th crystal, he would become a god and become indestructible, immortal anyway, and I think that would be the time he probably would show his true colours to Xeno if he was going to betray him. But that's as much as I can say on that one for the moment. You know, there's many possibilities, but it's all dependent if Kai actually gets around to finishing Enkai off or not. If Enkai gets killed by Kai, he's not going to be able to rebel against Xeno anyway, because he'll be dead, so... So Jack, thanks for that question, very good one, hope that's answered it as best you can. So my next submission of questions is from Valdas Kuvikas. I don't know how I'm pronouncing that, I'll like pop it up as an annotation so you know who I'm talking about. So he's got 3 questions in total. So his first question, after you're done of defeating Enkai, what's the next Xeno's commanders that will be in a fight? So basically he's saying obviously Enkai seems to be like Kai's main enemy in Season 2 so far, and basically you're saying which commander will Kai be next to face? Now Enkai didn't go to White River to fight Kai. Initially, it was obviously to basically take control of the kingdom, and it's only because King Farathon sent Kai there that have now engaged in this sort of like duel between them. So, again, without spoiling too much, because I don't want to give away major spoilers, Kai will fight several commanders in Season 3. you know, either in a certain order or all at one time. I'm not going to reveal that too much, but there'll be definitely more sort of Kai versus the Commanders in this season, so it's not going to be like Kai versus one Commander in season 2, then another in season 3, and like he's sort of picking them off the list. It will sort of vary. Obviously, I don't want this, the series would be too predictable otherwise. If you knew each series he was going to fight a Commander one-on-one. But that's basically the concept. So in season 3, at some point during it, there will be a big fight with several commanders, and Kai obviously will be involved in that. Now, I'm not going to say which of them it is, but you'll see that when it comes along. So hopefully that's your first question answered as best I can. Number 2, when is there a new character? And you put obviously the black-haired girl dressed up in green. It's quite funny you mentioning her actually, because it does say her name in the intro. You're talking about Rhiannon. The new character Rhiannon is actually in episode 23. It's where she first appears. Now she'll be in this one very, very briefly, and then sort of from episode 24 onwards, she will be as a permanent character in Kai's team. Also, Fenrir, he was obviously in the end of season 1, beginning of season 2, and he's kind of disappeared for a bit. He will also become a sort of permanent member of Kai's team eventually. I'm not going to mention when or why, but he will be another one. And there's another 2 main characters who will sort of join Kai. Now, I say main characters. Main characters, I mean someone who's going to be with Kai like almost all the time. Now, you know, King Farathon and King White River are kind of classed as main characters, but not, you know, as much as like Ray and Ardian and that. So, you know, they are supporting Kai, they're just not constantly with him. So his comrades are growing. So hopefully that one's answer is good for you. And your third question, when will Kai Drake learn some more powers and abilities? So you're probably referencing like his sort of other side of him that you've noticed sort of in the end of season 1. It's been like sort of mentioned throughout season 2. That is a sort of main ability from Kai that he is still trying to sort of, he doesn't actually realise, he thinks there's sort of something wrong with him, but it's actually an ability he is developing, and eventually he'll be able to harness as much as he can. And it also has sort of different stages, but I don't want to obviously talk about it too much, but you will find out about that ability near to the end of season 2. Ardian will kind of reveal a bit more about it once he himself knows. But yes, Kai will obtain other abilities throughout the series as well. He will eventually obtain new armor, a new weapon as well as some of the other characters. A lot of them will still keep developing themselves. So, but yeah, that's your 3 questions answered. Hopefully you've enjoyed them. So next question, SkyStar1 asked, I'd like to know if Kai would ever get a rematch against Ryder and Bellatrix, since he lost to both of them in the beginning of the series and the final of season 1. Again, without spoiling too much, yes, he will fight Ryder and Bellatrix again. And again, I'm not saying when, and I'm not saying how or why, but he will fight against both of them several more times throughout the entire Crystals of Chaos series. Off the top of my head, I reckon he'll face Bellatrix again before Ryder. But, you know, like you said in the beginning, he's basically lost to both of those commanders. So at the moment, they're like his sort of biggest threats, even though Xeno's on his list to make sure. Xeno is obviously the main person he needs to stop once and for all. But Ryder and Bellatrix are sort of Kai's biggest obstacles. So he sees them as his biggest challenge to overcome. So when he has to fight them again, obviously he will be sort of strengthened by the determination to defeat them after losing to them before. And again, this is why he's so determined to defeat Enkai, because obviously he's lost to 2 commanders, he's not going to lose to a 3rd one, so that's why Kai has become a lot more powerful and aggressive since then. So, but yeah, that's your question and answer for you. Now, this next question is from Army of No Pants. Love the name. Right, question 1, do you plan to advertise this great series in some way? It deserves a lot more viewers. Now, we are kind of getting advertised slowly without me having to resort to sort of like money side of it. So obviously, Third Age Film, who plays Ardian, he has supported this series a lot, been shouting out. He's the one who sort of got us the main first chunk of subscribers. Going Crazy 201 or Amber, again, she voices Raven in this series. She has also helped support this series as well, kept like shouting out about it, and again got us a load of subscribers. And the biggest surge has been from Chris Archie when he reviewed the video quite recently, and obviously he's been sort of popping back and forth watching it as well. So in terms of like non-commercial, we are obtaining more subscribers, we are gradually growing in more viewers. Now, depending on what we look like by the end of season 2, start of season 3, I might try and make some sort of adverts to have on YouTube. But obviously, I don't want to be spending a ridiculous amount of money on it, and also I want to sort of get the right audience. Now, a lot of people who obviously see ads pop up in videos get more annoyed with them than they actually enjoy them. So I don't want to get, like, I don't know, 1,000 subscribers from it, but only half of them are going to like it. Because obviously that's going to then really affect like the like-dislike ratio, and at the moment it's Crystals of Chaos. It's mainly obtaining like subscribers who really do enjoy the series and watch every episode, which is what I'd rather have. I wouldn't want a mixed subscriber base of those who are just subscribed for the hell of it, and you know, they dislike it whenever something's uploaded. I'd rather have sort of a pure amount of subscribers, even if it means I've not got as many as I probably could if I sort of, you know, broadened it a bit. But at the moment the fan base we've got is absolutely fantastic, and I don't want that to change. But like I said, we'll see at the end of season 2 what we're looking like. So we're nearly hitting 1,500 subscribers. 1,000 was the first and hardest milestone achieved, and it should get easier from that point onwards. But we'll see how we go. So your second question: will there be more need for voice actors in future? Yes, definitely. We'll have lots more main characters coming into it. Maybe not those necessarily who will be with Kai all the time. Like I mentioned, there are 2 main characters who will be joining him onwards, but they've already got sort of allocated voice actors. But there will be constantly a different stream of characters throughout this series, and obviously you've got to remember the kingdoms around the New World. We've only got as far as Farafont and White River yet. There's also the Kingdom of Greenwick, the Kingdom of Draken. There's loads and loads and loads, so there'll be more and more characters coming into it. So yes, definitely more voice actors, and I'll keep mentioning opportunities to become one. Question 3: did Enkai only take the BGS, Bandle's Godsword, that stands for? Obviously that's the weapon he's using at the moment, although in the series it's not like known as that, and obviously the Crystal of Illusion. Again, you'll kind of have to wait and see with that. Enkai may have taken something else as well from the vault. Obviously, this is Xeno's vault and treasury that he has collected since obviously he was young, and obviously that treasury contains ancient relics from what his father collected and his father before him. So there could be some really powerful stuff in there. So Enkai may well have took something, but we'll have to wait and see. The other question, am I real? I can't really understand that comment. Are you real, otaku? I don't really know what that means, so I'm gonna have to kind of skip that one. You can all, after you've probably watched this, you can post in the comments what you meant by that, and I'll reply to you as best I can. And then number 5, who drew the Kai poster? He looks like he is the bad guy. I actually drew most of the posters for Crystals of Chaos. There's a couple that I have a friend who is the voice actor. He voices Grimslash in this series. He's done sketches for several of the main characters, and I've basically edited them on Photoshop, but the main majority I've drawn myself and I've photoshopped and coloured myself. He does look like a bit of a bad guy in that picture, but that's because obviously season 2 he's got that sort of determined edge to him. So, you know, in season 1 he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to easily defeat Xeno because of my destiny and heritage and blah blah, but now he's actually realised it's not that easy, so Kai's kind of become a bit more stern and a bit more determined, so that's probably why. Anyway, that's your questions answered. On to the next one by Hunter Kitty Cat, in brackets RSMV channel, and she says, what inspired you? So, it's hard to say what inspired me. This has been like inspired from a number of things. So, you're probably going to laugh at me and think I'm really cheesy for this, but one thing that's inspired me has been my girlfriend, Tifa, who also voices Myra in this series. She is the one who, like, when we first started going out, she was always writing her fanfic stories and things like that, and she kind of got me into the same thing. I never sort of bothered wanting to write anything down, and then one time we was talking about different ideas. I think it was when we was going through a phase of like playing different things like Final Fantasy. We was watching different series like Bleach, Dragon Ball, and I thought to myself, I'd love to make a series like this. And kind of, you know, when you get bored, you're thinking of stories and things, and kind of all those elements came into one. And before I knew it, I already had like characters in my head. Kai I drew as a complete random character like about 3-4 years ago without even thinking of a Crystals of Chaos series, and I was like, oh, I quite like this character, he'd be cool in his own sort of like anime thing, and it kind of went on from there. So at the moment I have like the whole sort of Crystals of Chaos story written down and that, and obviously it's a very, very long story, as you've probably told so far. It'll probably get asked as a question later about how many series will there be. There's going to be at least 6 or 7 series to be able to complete sort of the story. the most time-consuming bit is making it into script format and that. So that's one thing I'm kind of having to do at the moment. But going back to the question, what inspired me? A whole lot of elements in that. A lot of animes, a lot of games that I like. My personality as a whole, and obviously you guys as well. A lot of you came from my main Cloud channel. I wanted to give you something new and something fresh, and I definitely think this is what it is. So yeah, I've answered that as best I can. I can't really add anything more to that, so hopefully you're satisfied with that. Thank you for your question. Next one, Rune Movies. So he has submitted a good variety of questions. Hang on, there's a read more option. Oh, right, okay, he submitted 10 questions, alright. Cheeky. Right, okay, I'll have to get through these sort of as quick as I can to not make this video too long. Alright, so, question 1. Will Ray ever find his hometown? Without giving away too much, yes, he will eventually find out his origins, although I'm not really going to talk about that. We know his past is a mystery. He doesn't know where he's come from, who his father is, what his family. The first thing he remembers is arriving in the Westerns and seeing Kai, and obviously that could be a mixture of amnesia, or someone has actually wiped his memory. You know, but you will find out throughout the stories, as you get nearer and nearer to the end of the Crystals of Chaos story, some things will come to truth. Question 2, will Arden ever meet up any other wizard of the First Order? And again, funnily enough, you will meet another wizard of the First Order in this episode coming up, episode 23, the one which Rhiannon's going to appear in briefly. Although he isn't actually a current member of the Order, he used to be in the First Order. So you will meet him briefly. There are other wizards and that. On a little side note, Orpheus, the mage that is now sided with Lord Zeno, like the leader of the Dark Mages, he used to be a wizard of the First Order as well. Him and Arden have a bit of a dark past. So again, that will sort of come out throughout the series, so you'll find out about that as well. But yeah, so we will probably see other wizards of the First Order, but like I said, you will see one of them in the next episode. Number 3, which commander fears Kai the most? Now this is kind of hard to answer because obviously a lot of the commanders have been seen on and off. And they've all got their own opinions and views and powers. Each of them is different in their own. However, I personally think the commander who fears Kai the most is either Bellatrix or Ryder. Now, you'll probably be like, what? You know, he lost to both of them. They're one of the most powerful of Xeno's commanders, the pair of them. But Kai obviously sort of overcome Ryder a bit in season 1, and he basically, Ryder underestimated him, which he rarely does. So obviously he was quite shocked at, and even he admits this himself, a boy of Kai's age should not have the strength that he did. So Ryder was obviously quite sort of step back from that. And also Bellatrix, when Kai showed that like sort of brief new form where he had like the glowing eyes and the dragon demon wings, he managed to hit quite a critical blow on Bellatrix, which again she was not expecting. So I personally think they would both fear Kai the most out of all the other commanders, mainly because they fought him and knew that he was quite powerful for what they thought he would be, and he is clearly growing in strength as time passes. So obviously the longer he has, the more powerful he will become, and it could get to the point eventually where he will easily overpower the both of them, and I think that's what they fear. And most certainly Zeno would eventually fear that as well. If he realises Kai has started to become more powerful than all his commanders, he knows it's mainly going to be himself to stop him. So yeah. Number 4, how many kingdoms are currently planned in the series? Now, without going to look at the world map, about 7 or 8. If you all go to the Crystals of Chaos website, which is www.crystalsofchaos.com, you'll see there is a section on there you can click and see the world map of the world of Crystals of Chaos. The planet hasn't actually got a name, it's just known as like the planet throughout this, but you will see like the continents of the New World and Old World, and you'll see all the different kingdoms throughout that. So you know, if you went and looked at it now, you probably could count all the different areas, or the main areas on the world map. But obviously as the story develops, there may be other places that start to appear that they travel to, etc, etc. So that's that question answered. Number 5, will all commanders / Kai's friends be in one epic fight? Again, without giving too much, yes, there will be like a massive fight at some point. Eventually, Kai's friends will start gaining power because of them accompanying Kai, and obviously they grow stronger as well as he does. They'll get to the point where they'll be actually able to fight commanders sort of one-on-one as well as him. So at some point there will be like quite a big fight, but I'm not going to tell you when and why. Number 6, how many seasons do you think you're going to have? Yeah, see, I knew I'd get asked this. I reckon at least a minimum of 6 seasons, and a max of sort of 7 or 8. I can't really answer that any more than that, really. It all depends on if I keep even getting to that point, but that's another story. Number 7, will the new girl shout from the trailer? I already answered that earlier on. Number 8, will we ever find out about the true feelings about Kai and Myra? There's obvious feelings between those two characters in the series. Obviously, a lot of you will know, or it could be quite obvious, that they have quite good emotions for each other. But you will find out, I reckon, but it'll probably be a while off. I think Kai, in the back of his mind, fears that if enemies know how he feels about Myra, they will use her to get to him. Okay, next question. Why can't the Dragonites use the crystal themselves? The crystals are sort of controlled by dark, negative energy. They used to be pure crystals, but obviously, as it says in the prologue, chaos corrupted them. Now, the Dragonites can't use them because obviously their order is to protect the crystals and not allow them to be used. So obviously that would be completely contradicting themselves if they start using the crystals themselves. But also, and again, I'm not going to say too much about spoiling things. When you use the crystal, there is a certain cost to doing it. It's not like you're going to obtain this power for nothing. There will be some sacrifice, minor or major, depending on the crystal. So obviously the Dragonites may know of that. Not to mention, well, it's not to say Kai does. Kai might not know about the crystals as much as he thinks he does. But obviously they will not want to use the crystals because they're basically trying to prevent people from doing that in the first place. So that's why. And number 10, how did you come up with some of the characters' outfits? So the concept I basically sort of come off my own sort of back idea, and then I basically found the nearest looking outfits in RuneScape that sort of matched the concept. So those of you will know what most of the character posters look like. Again, they're on the Crystal House website. If you watch, I try to make the similarities between the concept art outfits and the RuneScape's outfits, as close together as you can. So obviously the first thing I thought with Kai with red armor as a Dragonite would be dragon armor. That was pretty much a easy one to figure out. Other characters did take some time even, to come up with what their outfits would look like. Whew, worn out after all those questions. So that's all of your questions answered, Rune Movies. Thank you very much. And those of you who are watching are probably thinking, bloody hell, 10 questions about time. Okay, on to the next question by MLP Okiora. And his question is, my question, will any of the commanders end up joining Kai? I have a feeling one of them will join him. I always wanted that to happen. Well, it's not to say it couldn't happen. Especially if certain commanders didn't agree with what Xeno was doing or becoming, basically if commanders felt that they themselves were being threatened by Xeno obtaining more power, they may be inclined to join Kai, especially if they've got their own sort of desires themselves. So that's not to basically say no, and I'm not saying yes either. Again, I guess you'll find out as the series develops. Okay, next person, Benja Ferrer, submitted 2 questions. When is the next episode coming out? I'll answer that one first. The episode should have been done by now, but I've basically run into some delays with editing myself. Some of my voice actors have needed longer as well, some with good reasons, some with bad reasons. So obviously I'm still waiting for a few more elements to come together before I can finish it. Now I'm really trying hard to finish it for this weekend, but I doubt I'm going to make it. So by next weekend the episode should be up, so look forward to that. And the other one question you asked, what happened to Sebastian, the brother of Kai from episode 1? So it's not really said what happens to Sebastian. We presume he died with the explosion that Xeno caused with the other commanders when they destroyed the Westlands. It was only because Kai's house with his father was sort of located away from the main village that obviously Kai survived the blast, and like Ray and Myra did as well. But we don't see any survivors from the Westlands at all in Series 1, and there's no mention of any survivors, so obviously Kai is assuming his brother died along with his father. However, that's not confirmed. He could well have survived for all we know, but where would he be, what's he up to, we don't know. But again, I guess that's something you'll find out as the series develops, whether he survived or not. I guess we might hear a bit about that. You had one last question. Is it true that Xenocrates has a lost brother? Read it on a comment somewhere. I never actually have said that, but I think some people have speculated that Xenocrates could have a brother or another member of his family and that. At this point, don't really know how to answer that. He could have a brother, but as far as the series develops so far, and that we haven't been told that he has one, and we don't know of any other Xeno's family. We've just known it as his father and Xeno himself, and obviously Xeno killed his father to become ruler of Itzal. So again, I guess that's the same as the question about Sebastian. You'll find that out as the series develops. I'm trying to find the next question. And this question is by Michael My Cloud. How did the Crystals of Chaos series start? I can't answer that the same as like when Kitty submitted her question. What inspired me to create it? It all came from the same sort of thing, a mixture of elements. So obviously I've kind of already answered that. One thing I will mention, though, for those who didn't know, I did originally want to make Crystals of Chaos as an anime, but that is a lot easier said than done, and it's very tricky to make an anime, so I decided to make it with RuneScape, seeing as I was playing RuneScape a lot, and I know like the characters and the outfits and the emotes are quite good to use for that sort of thing, so as soon as it sort of like kicked off, it was really good, and I've kind of stuck with that. One day, or maybe in the not so far future, I could perhaps make an anime out of it, but I would need a lot more people and resources to be able to do that. I definitely couldn't do it myself like I am at the moment. The only help I'm getting is like from voice actors who are actually doing audio themselves and those who are helping with like concept art and stuff like that. But at the moment it's pretty much a one-man thing going on here, so there's no way I could make an anime all by myself, but maybe in the future it could become an anime. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I hope that answers your question as best you can. Next question by RS088. How much longer will Season 2 be? Season 2 will end on episode 30. Now, episode 15 had to be split into two parts because the length of it, and that may well be the case with episode 30 as well yet. So, but yeah, each series I'm kind of trying to do like 15 episodes per series, with the last episode being like sort of a double bill longer episode. So yeah, episode 30 will then be like sort of the cut-off point, and then the season 3 will start with episode 31. Your next question, how many seasons will be in total? I've already answered that. It's going to be a minimum of 6, could be like 7 or 8 max. And then again, the same question, will every season be Kai versus one of the commanders? No, like I said at the beginning, it will sort of change throughout it. It's only seems to be at the moment it's been like 1 versus 1, but things will change. And then our final question is by Bath Brownie. If you had the chance, would you go back to the old RuneScape format animation for Crystals of Chaos? So what he means is between episodes 1 and 5 or 6, I think it was, I used to edit the Crystals of Chaos fights slightly differently, and that's because back then we didn't have the EOC, so the combat was literally, you know, the animation of it even was literally just a case of a couple of slashes, a couple of stabs. So I had to sort of use a different editing software to be able to basically be able to control the characters freely and make them do sort of a more sort of different moves than that, like you would have seen in the first 6 episodes. But then obviously EOC, Evolution of Combat, got added into the game, and even though a lot of people didn't like Evolution of Combat, the fighting animations were a lot better, and you know, for watching wise it was a lot more better, so I thought this would be a very good way of carrying on with Crystals of Chaos, and generally I think a lot more people preferred that compared to the old format. Someone once said it was very sort of like clippy and not as smooth and that, so obviously it was all very sort of 2D, the fights, where now I can use the Evolution of Combat to basically make them a bit more exciting. So at this point I wouldn't go back to the old format animation, mainly because a lot of people are preferring the newer version, or what we've stuck with since episode 6/7, and also it's a lot easier for my editing as well. It used to take about 4 times longer to make an episode due to that old animation I had to do, where Evolution of Combat's quite easy to sort of film and put in different scenes and that, so that's why I'm using that at the moment. But yeah, that's all the questions I received, or that's all the ones I've obtained. Anyway, some of you may have sent them and they're not come through. But yeah, a very wide variety of questions, some really good ones. I actually enjoyed answering some of them, especially like ones like what happens to Sebastian, and like really sort of in-depth questions. They weren't as sort of basic as I thought they would be. So well done for your creative questions. It was definitely fun answering them. Like I said, I couldn't give away too many spoilers, so obviously I had to sort of subtly answer some questions without telling you too much, but there's a lot more to come in Crystals of Chaos. There's a lot more exciting stuff. One thing I will mention, only because no one sort of mentioned it at all, and it's not really going to be so much of a spoiler because you'll hear about it a bit nearer to the time. The characters themselves all have quite a big sort of past between them. So if you go on the Crystals of Chaos website, you've got a lot of background information about each like main character on Kai's team and like Lord Xeno's commanders and that. I am planning, well obviously this is if everyone's liking the idea of this, I am planning to do sort of like Crystals of Chaos movies. Now not like over the top movies, like a sort of 40-minute episode, and it will be about solely a certain character. Now, the order I'm going to kind of do them in will be completely decided by vote. So, like, what I was planning to do, near the end of Season 2, I was going to put up this poll and say, like, oh, which character would you like to hear about, like, their past and how they've got to the point they are now in the Crystals of Chaos series, and obviously get you guys to vote. And I'd then make a 40-minute episode about that character's past leading up to the events of Crystals of Chaos. So, like, throwing this one out here, if everyone voted for Ardian, you'd find out, like, his early years of a wizard, how he became a wizard of the First Order, and his, like, more of his past about him and Orpheus. Again, you could ask about the past of one of the commanders, find out how they became as powerful as they are and how they came to join in Lord Xeno, things like that. But it's just sort of an idea in my head at the moment, but obviously let me know in the comment section below now if you think that's a good idea. Like I said, I'm going to look at doing something like that near the end of Season 2 when I've got a bit more time to focus on it, but eventually I'd do like a movie about sort of each main character if I could, seeing how it's received though, so it's up to you guys. But yeah, that's all your questions answered. I know this has been a very long video. Again, this is why I said listen to this in the background while doing RuneScape, so you can kind of enjoy it both. Like I said, it has took some time to answer your questions and comments and that, so take the time please to like and favourite the video. Also reply to my reply if you wish, so if you enjoyed what I sort of answered about your question, and you can say to me, or if there's other sort of parts of your question you felt I didn't answer so well, then like repost it in the comment section and I'll reply to you as best I can if I don't give away any spoilers. And that's pretty much it, and like I said, the newest episode shouldn't be out in too much longer. So, but yeah, thanks for watching everyone. I hope you enjoyed the Q&A, and I'll make sure I'll do one of these again near the end of Season 2. Thanks for watching guys, bye!